I think. I was around 8 or 9 when this happened. It was one of those years where everything still felt small. Our house, our street, even the problems adults talked about in hushed voices. We lived in a quiet neighborhood just outside a mid-sized town, the kind of place where people didn't lock their doors during the day, and kids rode their bikes until the streetlights came on. It was me, my younger sister, and our mom most of the time. My dad worked nights back then, so evenings always felt a little different, quieter, stretched out, like something was missing. I remember it was late fall, not quite winter yet, but cold enough that you could see your breath if you stepped outside. That night, the wind had picked up. You could hear it pushing against the sides of the house. The trees out front scraped lightly against each other, making this dry, hollow sound that carried through the walls. We had just finished dinner, and my mom was in the kitchen cleaning up, while my sister and I sat in the living room watching TV. Nothing felt off at first, just a normal night. I was half paying attention to the show, half distracted by the sound of the wind rattling something loose outside, maybe a branch, or the old mailbox. Then, there was a knock at the door. Not loud, not urgent, just deliberate. 3 slow knocks. I remember looking over at my sister, and she looked back at me like, "Are you gonna get that?" But we both knew we weren't supposed to open the door, especially at night. So we just sat there for a second, waiting for our mom to react. In the kitchen, the water kept running. Plates clinked together. She hadn't heard it. The knock came again. Same pattern, same spacing, like whoever it was wasn't in a hurry, but also wasn't leaving. "Mom," I called out. She turned the water off. "What?" "Someone's at the door." There was a pause, not a long one, just enough for her to process it. Then she dried her hands and walked toward the front of the house, wiping them on a dish towel. I remember the way she slowed down as she got closer to the door, not stopping, just more careful, like she was listening. "Did you see who it is?" she asked. "No," I said. She didn't open it right away. Instead, she leaned slightly to the side and looked through the small window next to the door. I couldn't see her face from where I was sitting, but I remember her shoulders tensing, just a little. "Stay where you are," she said, quieter this time. That's when I got up. I wasn't supposed to, but I did anyway, taking a few steps closer so I could see past her. There was a man standing on our porch. He wasn't doing anything strange at first glance, just standing there, but something about the way he was positioned felt off. He wasn't facing the door directly. He was angled slightly to the side, like he had been looking somewhere else and only turned when he knocked. He wore a dark jacket, maybe gray or black, and a baseball cap pulled low over his face. It was hard to see his eyes because of the shadow. My mom cracked the door open just a few inches, keeping the chain on. "Can I help you?" she asked. The man didn't answer right away. He leaned forward slightly, just enough that his face came closer to the gap in the door, but not enough for the light to fully hit it. "I think I have the wrong house," he said. His voice was calm, too calm, flat, like he had said the same sentence 100 times. "Okay," my mom replied. "Then you should probably head on." Another pause. Then he nodded once. "Yeah," he said. "Sorry." She closed the door, locked it, and slid the chain back into place. For a second, everything seemed normal again. Just an awkward interaction. Wrong address. It happens. But she didn't walk away right away. She stayed there, hands still on the lock, listening. I remember the silence, the kind where you're waiting to hear footsteps walking away, but you don't. "Go sit down," she told us, still not turning around. We did. A few seconds later, she moved to the window and carefully pulled the curtain, just enough to peek outside. "What is it?" I asked. She didn't answer. Then she let the curtain fall and turned back toward us, her expression tighter now. "He's still there," she said. That's when my stomach dropped. "Why?" my sister asked, her voice already starting to shake. "I don't know," my mom said. "Just stay here." She turned off the living room light, then the hallway light, moving quickly but quietly. The house shifted into darkness, except for the faint glow of the TV. We all sat there, not really watching anymore, just listening. And then, another knock. This time, louder. Not 3, just 1. Hard enough that it echoed through the house. My sister grabbed my arm. I could feel her fingers digging into my sleeve. "Mom," I whispered. "I hear it," she said. No one moved. The knock came again, harder, more impatient. "Open the door," the man said. His voice wasn't calm anymore. It sounded closer, like he had leaned right up against the door when he spoke. "We just need to talk." My mom shook her head. more to herself than to us. "No," she said quietly. "No, we don't." She grabbed her phone from the counter and stepped into the kitchen, dialing. I could hear her whispering to someone, probably the police, but I couldn't make out what she was saying. The knocking didn't stop. It changed, from knocks to banging. Each hit made the door rattle in its frame. "Open it," he shouted. My sister started crying, trying to keep it quiet but failing. I didn't realize I was crying too until I felt it on my face. "Go to my room," my mom said, coming back quickly. "Both of you, now." We ran. Her room was at the end of the hallway. She shut the door behind us and locked it, then turned off the light. "Get down," she whispered. We crouched beside the bed, huddled together. The banging kept going, loud, rhythmic, like he wasn't trying to break the door down, just make sure we knew he was still there. Then it stopped, completely. No footsteps, no voice, nothing. Just the wind outside again, like it had never been interrupted. We stayed there for what felt like forever. My mom didn't move. She just listened, holding her phone tightly in one hand. Eventually, there were distant sirens. By the time the police arrived, the porch was empty. They checked around the house, walked the perimeter, shined flashlights into the yard and down the street. But there was no sign of him, no footprints that they could find, nothing out of place. They told us it was probably someone looking for the wrong house. Maybe drunk, maybe confused, but that didn't sit right. Not with the way he stood there, not with the way he didn't leave. For a while after that, things went back to normal, or at least, we tried to act like they did. Until about 2 weeks later, I woke up in the middle of the night, needing to use the bathroom. The house was quiet, darker than usual. My mom must have forgotten to leave the hallway light on. I stepped out of my room and immediately noticed something. The front door was open. Not wide open, just enough to let the cold air slip in, making the curtains move slightly. I stood there, frozen. I remember thinking maybe my mom had gotten up. Maybe she had opened it for some reason. But then I saw the chain, still hanging, broken. The metal piece that held it to the frame had been ripped clean out, screws and all. I didn't scream. I didn't move. I just stood there, staring at it, trying to understand what I was looking at. Then I noticed something else. The TV remote was missing from the coffee table. So were a few other small things. Nothing obvious at first glance. Just gone. Like someone had come in quietly, taken what they wanted, and left. I slowly backed up, returned to my room, and woke my mom. The police came again. Same routine, same questions. No answers. They couldn't say when it happened. Couldn't say who did it. Couldn't even say for sure if it was the same person. But sometimes, I think about the way that man stood on our porch that first night. The way he didn't seem surprised when my mom didn't open the door. The way he stayed, like he was waiting. And I still can't shake the feeling that when he left that night, he didn't go far.